Council meetings are long and boring. Wouldn't it be great if they were short and unboring? This is why I have invented the 5. Make it more than 10. More than 10-minute meeting. Yeah, more than 10. Get ready. Ashland City Council meeting of November 21st. This one starts out saying, hey, Friday is the Festival of Lights and Saturday is Shop Local. And we have a 5G update. And this guy chimes in with that one. He goes, hey, this ordinance is working its way through the process. Stakeholders, it's comprehensive, it's robust, there's a timeline, and then a public forum on that. The bald 5G guy says, you are self-censoring. The League of Oregon Cities is a lobbying organization. And then the original 5G lady, she says, I'm inviting council to a 5G conference at the Jackson Wellsprings on December 1st, and brain cancer is on the rise, and women can't have babies. And then the 5G lady in the hat, she says an expert said that children's skulls absorb 10 times more radiation. And then a long-haired lady said, our group has sent you all information, and 5G amplifies the poison in the COVID shots, and Fauci is a criminal, and Biden stopped the production of incandescent bulbs, and the new bulbs go like this instead of this. And then this one says, also, there's a vigil from 2 to 6 this Thursday for Aiden Ellison, who was murdered on November 23rd. And then a commendation, an award of life-saving for this one. Police Chief Ty O'Meara. He looks kind of like this. He goes, hey, there's this kid threatening to jump off the Clay Street Bridge. And the kid didn't want the cops to talk to him. So this guy was walking along, named Xander Chappell, was just walking along, and he stopped and chatted with that kid for like 20 minutes. And he just kind of calmed him down. He was cool and everything. And then when things got a little weird, he grabbed the kid. And then the cops jumped in after that and swooped in and grabbed the kid and saved his life. So this guy, Xander Chappell, saved this kid's life. And so there's award, applause, of course, and a plaque and pictures. It was actually very nice. And then city manager's report. City manager Serena Cotta says, hey, she goes, hey, Thursday and Friday, city offices are closed for Thanksgiving, you know. And then the public forum, regular public forum. A red cap guy showed up and said, how much money does the city waste by arresting me all the time? $1 million? I'm the $1 million man. The city is fucking me over. Yeah, not me. He said it. He's turning my power off and my water off. I was in prison for 60 days and I come home, no power. Don't pull your gun on me, Chief. It got wild in there and then he booked it. And then the consent agenda came along, all approved. And then the IT department switches. Finance Director Marion Berry, she looks like this. She goes, hey, we legally need to shift money from general funds to the IT department for these new switches. And where's this guy? IT chief Jason Wegner. He chimes in and goes, hey, we had old switches catch on fire in one place, so we had to replace all the old switches unexpectedly. So that's $220,000, all approved. And then here we go, Chris Chambers, Ashland Forest Fire Chief. He's like, hey, the Forest Lands Committee converting to a management advisory committee from a standing commission, whatever. And then this guy goes, hey, how can the public speak at these meetings? And this guy goes, hey, he says, well, we have the same meeting at the same place, no matter what we're called. And this one says, here she is. She goes, hey, I move to approve this. That seems like a good idea. It's a management advisory committee. That's all good. And this guy goes, I hate management advisory committees. So it was approved 5-1 because he's taking a bold stance on principles there. It's good stuff. And then Lomacatsi, and the Lomacatsi watershed restoration project. Once again, Chris Chambers, city fire chief, says trees are dying like crazy, 20 times more every year than previous years. And then these two go, rightly so. They go, hey, that graph you just showed was garbage. Didn't make any sense at all. And this guy goes, this guy chimes in and goes, yeah, but snags per ton per acre equals, it was terrible. Okay, it was a horrible graph and it made no sense. It made everything more confusing. So let me Jim-splain this. Jim-splaining, because the whole thing was poorly presented. This request was for $250,000 for the forestry company Lomacatsi to cruise the timber in the entire Ashland watershed, marking trees for removal and developing a report based on areas to cut, and how much lumber would be produced so that another company can bid on the removal. A helicopter company, most likely, and depending upon this report, would still cost the city between $500,000 and $1.3 million. The money made selling the lumber isn't city profit. It just pays down the cost to remove the brush and trees. So, public forum. Former naked city councilor is back. He says, I have a scarf and glasses, so I think any tree cut should be left on the ground. And then a long-haired lady, the one from 5G, she said, climate change is actually chemtrails spraying and killing trees. The government, HAARP, High Frequency Auroral Research Program, is causing wind events and creating what you sheep call weather. And then the dreadlock man said, no trees should be removed for any economic reason. And then this one says, hey, a former naked city councilor made some good points. So professional fire guy Chambers, can you just look into leaving all the cut logs on the ground? And Chris Chambers says, he goes, it's a waste of time. And she goes, yeah, but can you look into it? And he's like, I mean, fine, I guess so. And this guy goes, well, I say we approve to do this. And everyone approved it. And then the Parks Director, Leslie Eldridge, here she is. She looks like this. Yeah, that icy grip of Rick Lant on her shoulder right there. Yeah. She says, hey, I have an ordinance to allow alcohol in the parks under certain rules, of course. No hard alcohol and areas roped off as beer gardens, and there's going to be a fee of $150 to start. And organizations would need to complete the state OLCC application and all that. And then there was a public forum, of course. And then, hey, former naked city councilor says, parks were intended for virtuous activity, and I say no public drunkenness and privatization. And this councilor, haven't heard from him in a while. Where'd he go? There he is. Oh, he's at the bottom there. And he goes, hey, I have some security and liability questions. I'm not so certain what to do. And so this guy goes, I move we just approve this. Approve it. Crickets. And this one says, well, okay, no second, so moving on. And then this one goes, whoa. She goes, hey. She says, hey. She goes, no discussion? I'm just going to second this so we can talk it out. And they talk a little bit. And then everyone aired their grievances. And this one says, hey, I tell you what, how about we an amendment to require more coordination with the Ashland PD and limit 5 events the first year. And this guy goes, I will not support any amendment to my moving to approve. Anything Parks proposed is flawless. So the amendment passed 5-1. And then the entire ordinance to allow alcohol in the parks passed 6-0. And then the new homeless camping ordinance, old city attorney Doug McGeary and a new city attorney Carmel Zarhan. Here she is wishing she had not taken this job. They said, here are the changes to the camping ordinance. And this one says, where did he go? He's lost in the shuffle. There he is. He goes, hey, we shouldn't sit here and tweak this ordinance during this meeting. I move we take more public input and discuss this next meeting. And this guy says, we're kicking the can down the road. We can fix this between the first reading and the second reading. But that was approved. 4-2. The new homeless camping ordinance is going to be kicked down the road. But we still need to listen to some public forum first. So glasses on the head lady said, I've been submitting public input for months and wanted you to support this tonight, but why are you pushing it down to the next meeting? And then the white guy in dreadlocks says, cook stoves are required for the homeless to eat. The night lawn is a breeding ground for illness. And the chair of the Human Services Committee said, I'm uncomfortable with this process and unintended consequences. This ordinance would tie our hands while we work on our homeless master plan. And the two pigtails lady said, I'm against the ordinance. You're going to need so much more signage. And a lady in a rain slicker said, I represent the South Ashland neighbors. Vote for this ordinance to match Medford's ordinance. And then Red Cap Man is back. He says, I have PTSD. I'm sorry for my language previously. Being allowed to cook dinner is in the Constitution. And one-footed Rick was harassed over the night lawn by Officer McClendon. McClendon said, hurry up. And Rick said, I only have 1 foot. And there was no vote, so that whole process was moved to the next meeting. And then the first quarter financial. Financial director Marion Berry, she looks like that. She goes, hey, finance director, she says system development charges were separated out of the budget. Some parks funds were just put into the city general fund. An old health fund was dissolved, and the airport shows a loss, but a grant is coming to balance that out. No questions. And then the new deputy fire chief showed up. You guys get a picture. He said, we bought and are picking up our new ambulance in December, but we were also going to get a second ambulance, which is really kind of a tricked out van. And that thing went way up in price, supply chain, climate change, cancel culture, whatever it was. So the new van is $158,000. We can buy it, right? All approved, of course. And then the homeless shelter goals. Oh, well, there's one. Where'd she go? This one, the mayor there, she says, hey, there's a lot of goals and input, and we've been seeing that, and we need to use a holistic approach, and here's a list of goals. No copies were given to the public, by the way, of course. Damn, that Joe Lessard, he's just bad at communicating. Oh, he's not there anymore. She says, neighbors want to, but lighting the bike path isn't happening because we don't have the money. And neighbors also want, but we can't fix all the holes in the fences. Why? Because Sabrina Cotta, tell me why again. And she goes, oh yeah, there's a lawsuit. And she goes, a lawsuit? And are you kidding me? And then this guy goes, a lawsuit? I haven't heard. What are you talking about? I never. First I heard of a lawsuit. And so, what happens then? Of course, she goes, all right, let's go back to my list. She goes, the neighbors want, but we cannot move the showers because of the power lines. And neighbors also want, but we can't move the porta potties because of ADA access. However, I am organizing a neighborhood cleanup process with APRC and local homeowners and shelter residents. And this guy says, I'm looking here. I don't see a plan for local businesses in this list. And she goes, oh yeah, well, no, I have a plan to make a plan. So any other questions? And this guy was loaded. He had a load of questions. He started going down a couple of lists, and it was a pretty good variety right there. And then this one says, hey, a neighborhood cleanup sounds like a terrible idea. Needles and feces on the ground, and the city should do that. And then this guy, of course, says, I agree. I mean, they all pay taxes. They shouldn't have to clean up their own streets after paying taxes. And then this was odd. This guy goes, where do you go? Oh, he goes, hey, I have what do you say? Oh, I have a question about tracking crime data in the previous discussion of goals. And then this one goes, nope, no more time for you. Stop talking. Let's hear public forum. And so he stared daggers at her for the next 60 seconds at least. And then glasses on the head lady came back, and she said, since shelter people can't use drugs at the shelters, where do you think they go to do their drugs? They go to my property, and they do them in my yard. And then a cowl neck lady said, with a sweater, cowl neck sweater lady said, South Ashland business lady she is. And she says, add fencing, lights, and screening. That's all we're asking. You ask for input, and we give it to you, and then you do nothing. And then a knit scarf lady said, why did the city remove garbage cans all throughout South Ashland? There isn't a plan. And this super blonde, white-haired lady said, yeah, you said you'd look at how the shelter was doing on January 10th and reevaluate. But it seems like you're just deciding now after 22 days. And then this one goes, okay, yeah, that's the end of the meeting. That's it. And then this guy's still staring daggers at her. But that was it. That was the end of the meeting. You're welcome.